want to say languages, and you can disagree with me, I'm sorry if I say something wrong. Languages unite us, but also separate us. I remember I listened to a professor from Japan. What a nice thing you are doing with that virtual exchange thing. I love it with the poems. I love it so much. I was so happy. And I love Japan. I used to work with Japan. And I remember going there. I didn't want to take the train because I don't speak Japanese, right? And I was scared. I said, look, how I come back to the hotel? When I came here, I saw the people from India. Wonderful booth there. And I work also in India, and I remember that I was working in Asia. I was saying, I go to India right now, and there is a place where a significant part of the population speak English. And I am Latino. They like to speak like me. Yeah. It was the place I was able to communicate. So language unites us, but also separate us. And I imagine a moment that through the efforts of educators and the efforts of technology, and the efforts of virtual exchange and the effort of universities, we will be able to communicate and become one. And so the conversation of today is what these wonderful business leaders and educators are doing to create a vision, right, on communicating better. It doesn't matter what your culture is. It doesn't matter what your language is. So I will invite you to introduce yourself because you know much better than me what you do. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you, Doctor. Hello, everyone. My name is Anita Nainen. I am, by profession, a U.S. immigration attorney. I help U.S. companies and foreign companies transfer their skilled professionals, managers, and executives, nationals of extraordinary ability into the U.S. to work here in the U.S. I also assist them in getting their U.S. permanent residency and onwards to citizenship by naturalization. In my voluntary capacity, I am a current board member of the Georgia Indo-American Chamber of Commerce, former chair and president. I'm also a board member of the Georgia District Export Council, which works with Georgia companies and helps them export internationally. And I'm also on the advisory council of UGA, the Dean Rusk International Law Center, having studied LLM many moons ago at UGA. And with that, I'm going to pass on to Robin.
Thank you, Anita, for being here. You know, the hour of an attorney is very, very expensive, and she's coming here to help us. So thank you for being here. A big applause for Anita, please.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Robin Cathey, and I am faculty in the Department of Applied Linguistics here at Georgia State University. I am also the Associate Director of the Intensive English Program, where we provide academic English training to students all over Atlanta. We work with international students here at Georgia State University who want to go to Georgia State after they finish their English language training or they transfer to other schools. We also run programs in Chamblee and Doraville and in Clarkston for immigrants and refugees seeking academic English to matriculate into universities as well. I'm really excited to be here. Thanks.
Well, thank you for being here. Big applause for our friend here. I want to say thank you also. I have so many students that they say they were training with English with your people there. And since you trained them, they are coming to my class. And you know what they are saying to me? Look, we don't have your accent. We really learn. Thank you for being here. Yes.
All right, good. Oops. It was working a minute ago, I promise. No. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I'm not bad advertisement. Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me now? Yes. All right, excellent. Well, good morning. I am Mark Linsky, and I am the Georgia Department of Education Program Specialist for World Languages and Global Work Initiatives. That's a really big title for essentially the cheerleader for world languages in Georgia for K through 12 education. I live in Savannah. I get to commute, which is a lot of fun. And in Savannah, I am the past chair and current member of the Greater Savannah International Alliance. It's a governor's committee and a mayor's committee. And we hosted a luncheon yesterday with 114 people representing different communities in Savannah. And it makes me proud to be a small part of that.
Thank you. Thank you for being to the Georgia Department of Education, right? Thank you. That's the kind of friends that we want to have. You are a teacher. This is the kind of friend that you want to have. So we will start with our conversation, but before moving ahead, I want to say what a wonderful thing, right? What a wonderful thing to see Georgia Tech and Georgia State and Georgia State and Georgia Tech together through the Atlanta Global Studies Center, right? So before starting, I want to say thank you to, to this important man here, VIP. You had in the VIP seat here. And if you want to say some words to our audience, more than 1,000 people today. Put the camera. Yeah, say some words.
Well, thank you. I mean, who knew we had an MC who can ham it up over? I mean, this is amazing, right? But, you know, one of the things that, like for this session, and I really appreciate, you know, that we're able to do this, that the kind of cultural and language awareness and expertise and competence is so important to enable us, you know, to provide our students with the ability to work in different sectors and in different kinds of careers. And it gives that real, you know, I think, you know, a competitive edge when you're, you know, thinking about what kinds of positions can you have and what kinds of environments can you operate in and with what degree of competence and skill. So, you know, thank you. I'm really looking forward to the panel.
Thank you very much for the word. A big applause for students, the support to education, and putting these two big universities, great universities together. So we start the conversation. Is that okay? Are you prepared? Yeah, you are ready? Yeah, these are difficult questions, I tell you. These are difficult questions. Who is a student here before we start? Who is a student before we start? So I want to ask you this, because after I go to my question that I have for the first member that I will ask a question here, that is Robin Valerie. Are you ready? I'm ready. Yeah, ready. So, let me know something. What do you think about it is important or not for everybody around the world to learn how to? What are you thinking about? Come. Let's put the microphone here. Let me see what you think. It's important for everybody to learn English. You think it's not? You say that you don't need to lie here. Right? You say whatever you want. Yeah.
I don't think it should be a requirement. I mean, depending like on what role you're taking, it might be a requirement. But I think it would be beneficial because it is, I guess, the universal language, and it's easier to communicate when you travel. And like in different countries, a lot of stuff is translated into English. So I think it would be beneficial for people to learn it. I'm studying marketing and hospitality administration.
So let's see what Robin Valerie thinks about that. And the question is, Valerie, what is the current state of English language instruction internationally and in the U.S.?
I would say that it's very different internationally and in the U.S., and opportunities are very different both here domestically and abroad. I think that there are a lot of really wonderful programs through Fulbright, through the English Language Fellowship. There's a lot of wonderful opportunities to get to connect to different cultures for English language teachers here from the U.S. to get to learn and travel and then come back to the U.S. and share what they're learning here in the U.S. I think it's incredibly important that Americans are getting abroad, and English language teaching can be one way to do that. I think I'll let you talk a little bit about the domestic situation here. And yeah.
Since my mic is not working, we're going to share today. I'll tell you a little bit about K through 12 education for ESOL. If anyone's been in a public school here, you know that we have students that speak other languages, and through title programs, and these are federally funded programs, but also state funded, we educate our children, and that means we educate all of our children, regardless of the language that they speak at home. Georgia is very fortunate because we have some programs that are called dual language immersion, and the students might study half of the day in their home language, and they might study half of the day in English. And the students that speak English are learning another language at the same time. At the same time, we're also providing English language learning services to those students. It's amazing. If you ever have a chance to go to one of those schools and visit, I highly encourage it. And for the programs that are not DLI, dual language immersion, those K through 12 ESOL programs, our students are coming out of those programs and they're speaking English. They're immersed in the language, they're immersed in content in English, and they're supported. It's amazing to see the little ones in a matter of months speaking English without an accent, as we were talking about earlier.
I should go there.
Maybe you should go there. And the earlier you start, the better. But again, if you have a chance, look up DLI, find out some more information about it, and then visit some of the programs. The Atlanta area, our metro area, is rich in DLI programs, not only Spanish, English, but also Mandarin, also French, also German, also Korean. So again, I encourage you to take a look at those, talk to the school, book a visit, and watch the amazing stuff happen.
And I'll add a little bit about adult English education here in the Atlanta area. There are wonderful opportunities to work with resettlement agencies in the area. Clarkston is an incredible place that is often called the most diverse square mile in the United States because it is a major resettlement area for refugees and immigrants. And I definitely recommend connecting with resettlement agencies like Inspiritus, IRC, New American Pathways, Catholic Charities, because there are wonderful opportunities to support our community members learning English here, either formally or informally. Thanks.
Well, and I think, you know, I would say this, it's not only about education, it's about helping people. Are you with me? It's not about education, it's about this feeling of helping people. And when you have this drive that you do what you like, but also you feel that you help people, it happens what it happens here. You saw the faces of these two members of the panel, that they were happy saying what they do. Let me know something. We have somebody representing, it's true, I'm representing the Office of International Affairs of the mayor in the city. Are you representing them? Yeah?
Here as a participant.
Yes, yeah. Well, it's okay. You are super welcome. So let me know, if you as a participant, what you think about this topic. How good is for Atlanta to have a community of people that speak several languages?
Thank you very much for this question, and thank you to the panelists. This is an exciting time for me and an exciting topic, because in the city of Atlanta, we have a saying that no matter the language you speak, you deserve excellent service. And we have a language access program called I Speak ATL. The reason this started was because we realized that Atlanta is a melting pot of all kinds of cultures and different languages, and people are at different times in their life in the study of the language of English. One of the students mentioned that yes, it shouldn't be a prerequisite, but it's easier for you to communicate when you speak English. But until you speak it perfectly so people can understand you, we still expect you in the city of Atlanta to interact with all our services. So we have to ensure that to communicate our programs and services with you, we have to do it in a way that you understand and you can respond. So having a topic like this is important because it helps us all to understand that not everybody speaks English the way we do, and people are at different stages in their life as they learn. And while they do that, we want to ensure they thrive in the city of Atlanta.
Thank you very much. People give an applause to everybody. That's very nice. That's very nice. Okay, so I have to say this. If I love every single culture. I love every single country. But I haven't seen in my life a country with the potential of India. And I remember when I was working there as a corporate executive, we launched a product. I was in charge, and the packaging was in English. And I was so happy. I said, look, we use the same package that we use in the U.S. And we were selling very well until I started to go there, and they said, look, if you want to sell more, you need to launch a packaging in Hindi. Yeah, and so I learned that just 20 years ago, how important it is to speak Hindi to really, I am a business professor, it's about making money, right? Are you with me? In an ethical way, by making money in an ethical way. I want to say, because people smile, I don't want, in an ethical way. So I want to go to Nina. What happened with Hindi? What happened with Hindi? Yeah.
Okay, so just to give you a little bit of a background, India was ruled by we were a colony of the United Kingdom for 400 years. So we are very fluent in English. We think and speak in English fluently. However, and I grew up in India. I did my education. I did my undergraduate in law in India. Always the medium of instruction was in English. Of course, since I grew up in New Delhi in North India, I had to learn a second language, and that second language was Hindi. That being said, there are many reasons why I think we should consider Hindi as an international global language. And so let me share a few facts with you. Hindi is one of 22 official languages in India. As you all may know, India is like a mini Europe. We have, all our states have their own languages, they have their own cultures. However, that being said, 80% of Indians would be fluent in English, in Hindi. So that itself is a reason, because if you know what the population of India is, we are the most populous nation in the world currently. We have overtaken China. We sit at about 1.43 billion people. And with a world population of about 8 billion, we have 1 in 8 nationals are going to be Indians. So you can see we have a big global footprint. So it is, I think, really important for everybody to get familiar with Hindi, just because we're all over the place. We're there in businesses, we're there as professionals, we're, the Indian diaspora worldwide is huge. Here in Atlanta itself, we have 200,000 Indians. In the US, we're about 5 million, so we do have a big footprint. So I would say that is an important consideration in support of Hindi as a global language. And I would conclude my remarks by saying that the current government in India, the Modi government, has been supporting Hindi in a big way. September 14th is celebrated as Hindi Divas, which is to encourage and propagate and promote Hindi as an official language of India and, of course, globally.
Very good, very nice, very nice. Very nice. I would love to learn Hindi, I tell you. I have been studying English for 30 years, and look, my accent, Hindi, probably I will. Yeah.
Right, but I would just say that if you did travel to India, the fact that you don't know Hindi is not going to be a barrier, unlike other countries where if you don't know the local language, you might find it hard to move around. If you know English, you would be just fine.
Yeah, well, for the students in business, focus on India. A huge opportunity. Focus on every country, but India is a huge opportunity. There is everything to sell there. Is that correct?
Huge
right?
market.
Everything to sell.
Yeah.
So now we move to before that. Let me think this. Before that, today I saw a presentation about virtual exchange and how I fall in love with the one of Japan. It was so nice that I will say it again. But also I saw the hard work. I'm talking about hard work because this is nice, right? It's hard work, virtual exchange for those of you who are in it. It's a lot of hard work. You need to connect with other universities. It's hard work, but it's work that when you finish doing it, the students come to you and they say, thank you. You see, the students say thank you. And when a professor, a teacher, even a teacher, right, a teacher at the school, the student or a student in the college said thank you to the professor, this is what we like. This is what gives us energy. So I want to, David, right? That's your name, David? Yeah. I listened to your presentation about what you are doing in virtual exchange in Georgia Perimeter College, Georgia State. What do you think about this idea of Hindi? How important is the student from India in your college?
So we have students from all over the world. So we have a lot of students from India. It's, if my students go to India speaking English, they'll be okay. But there's a connection. Yeah. That's something that we look through. So through virtual exchange, we try to instill a sense of being a global citizen with our students and even our practitioners. We help them develop the global knowledge, the intercultural competencies necessary, not only to be a productive citizen of the world, but also, to engage in business. This is important. As I'm sure you're aware, and I'm no businessman, but I will, correct me if I'm wrong, India is poised to replace China as our strategic manufacturing and business partner. Not only that, but the proximity to Europe makes them. They're our close ally. So since there are so many people here in our workforce, and potentially in the future there'll be Americans and India working together in concert, I think it will be a valuable culturally for our students to have an understanding of Hindi and at least a rudimentary ability to speak it.
Thank you, David. Thank you. So now we change the topic a little, but it's such an interesting topic, Have you heard about ChatGPT? You have a question, Jacob? Yeah, it's nice. People want to talk. It's so nice. It's so nice. So easy. If you want to talk, we need to give some time to the panel too, but anyway. No, you
we
go.
don't have time.
No.
So this is an interesting topic because I taught English as a foreign language in South Korea. And so, with that, one of the things that she brought up was comprehension. And I worked for a Hagwon there, which is a private academy. And that was the biggest thing because they created the curriculums. And so, I know that we want to bring Hindi, and that other languages here to the United States. And I know that with South Korea, there was a big investment of English at a certain point. And so, I'm saying if we do that, too, how can, with even Hindi, will we, deal with the language barrier? Or the comprehension side of Hindi, where, I know in South Korea and a lot of other countries struggle with the comprehension side of English. So.
So are you saying that Hindi is a difficult language to learn?
I don't know if it's a difficult language, but I know for those that learn English, it's a difficult language because we have different definitions, words that sound the same mean different.
Right.
And, when we were teaching our curriculums and stuff, we were teaching how Koreans learn English.
Uh-huh.
And so when we would teach it, they would only look at the first definition of certain words. And then, the students would go home, they would look at other definitions, and then their parents will call the school and saying that, hey, you have my student learning, a certain, word that may mean something that, to them is bad in their culture.
Oh, okay.
So how do you deal with, or is that something that you think will be an issue for even, American students learning Hindi, if that is a push, for our American society?
No, I don't think so. I haven't really given it much thought, but I don't think we really have, Hindi actually has that problem like some of the other Indian languages, which are more difficult. The southern Indian languages are really, really complicated, but I don't think Hindi is that difficult. And even if you don't learn how to read and write, at least spoken Hindi, in today's times when we are so geopolitically connected and interdependent, and as that professor mentioned, even for business purposes, with so many companies and so many professionals coming into the US and, companies sending their professionals from here to India because of the size of its market, right? So just being fluent in spoken Hindi would go a long way in terms of, establishing that comfort level with your client or your customer.
Very good. Thank you, Anita. Thank you for the question there. Thank you for everybody that participated. We changed topic. Is that okay? We remain within the topic, but we do something new. Who knows what is ChatGPT? And we do here. We have a question. Yes.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
Should I?
Yeah. You use my mic.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for the excellent discussion. First of all, thank you to Dr. Doria for being an amazing MC. Clap to him. And okay, you just told me to do it, right? It was a joke. So my question is probably maybe a bridge between what we were talking about and whatever it's coming up. And first of all, I have to give credit for the panel session number 4. One of the presentations today is mindfulness through the arts. And that's where my question comes in. So I'm Dr. Prem Muxi. I worked at World Languages and Cultures here. I'm a Latin Americanist. And my expertise is global cultural awareness through art instruction. So in the past 10 years, ACFEL has put an emphasis on art instruction in a different perspective, right? I'm particularly a musician, but that's what I put my emphasis in all my cultural classes for Latin America. And I want to share with everyone here that our department has just opened a new degree on global instruction, global cultures, and I'm teaching for the first time a class called Decentering Identities through mine is through sound, and there's students from all languages that are imbued in thinking how their identities are decentered by language. So my question for you, after this long introduction, is what are the state of the facts in the past regarding art instruction in the second language learner, and you can give me your perspective from English culture or English in the US or in the States. So it's kind of a broad, but I'm curious about it, so thank you.
All right, well, I'll do my best to talk a little bit about our K-12 education. If you've been to an elementary schools are different than they used to be in the past. And students take these classes that we call specials. Sometimes world language is included, sometimes art, sometimes music. It depends on the school. When our students are approaching high school, they have an opportunity, which we'll talk about in a bit, and it's called the International Skills Diploma Seal, and it's something that students can earn. And part of the earning of that is attending cultural events, 4 of those, and they can cross into art, they can cross into music, they can cross into performance. And that's very important for our students. Just an easy and a rough example, we may have a language contest and we're combining art with it. Or perhaps there's a poetry contest. There's one sponsored by the French government, and it's called Give Me 10 Words. Oh. They give you a topic, and the students find 10 words to make a poem. So we're combining those and fusing them. But our students, for the International Skills Diploma Seal, have 4 of those experiences, but they also do 20 hours of community service with an international focus. Okay. Some of those students who have a talent for art or a talent for dance are bringing into their community these things. Mm-hmm. So the potentials are there, and I think on the educational side, giving our students the freedom to make those decisions is important. Gentle guidance is also very useful. Many of our students are involved in language clubs or world cultures clubs, and they have the experience not only of the language that they're studying, but other languages and other cultures. It varies, of course, from school to school, but the idea is that our students are more worldly today, and with the internet, they have access to everything immediately. And
for
some of the
good and
students,
for bad, right?
Yes. And some of the students decide to learn things on their own. There's recently a student who wanted to test in Korean, and the student had learned Korean independently and had done that through a passion for actually Korean animation. And that turned into something that the student learned the language because of that. So that's an excellent pathway to learn about other people, other cultures, and other languages.
Okay, thank you.
I think that English language learning often incorporates art into the classroom. I think ask any English language teacher and they'll talk about different strategies that they
I learned a lot from English teachers, let me tell you.
Yeah, looking at a painting and describing it and talking about how you feel about it. I mean, there's so many ways. In Hungary, I worked with Roma high school students who would learn different coding and how to build games and describe games and things like that. There are so many ways. Sometimes the students bring things into the classroom to share that you wouldn't even have thought about. And then all of a sudden, you've kind of launched into a lesson where you're learning about each other while also using English language in these really impactful ways. So yeah, I think it's a really important thing to look at English language learning in a holistic way as well, that looks at each part of the person and allows them to learn how to express themselves and grow. You know, and art is just one of those many tools, which is really wonderful. So thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you. I'm curious about India.
Yes. Okay, so when I was growing up, we didn't really have such a lot of emphasis on art by itself. The emphasis was really on the sciences, right? And you were pretty straitjacketed in terms of what your options were. We have to make our decision like by the 10th grade to choose which stream we want to follow, whether it was going to be liberal arts, whether it was going to be sciences, or whether it's going to be commerce. Because that, in 11th and 12th, we would have already chosen what our pathway is so that we can get into college, unlike here in the US. That being said, today probably, you know, it may be different and I'm not in touch with it. But I do know that given, you know, the rich history of our civilization and the, you know, the number of historical monuments that are around, there would be, you know, trips, like these kind of day trips they would organize through school to go and see, or, you know, have a picnic in one of these, you know, archaeological sites, you know, in and around where your school is, so that you will learn about, you know, art history and architecture and things like that. In terms of being, you know, here in the US and the Indian diaspora, there are lots of Indian academies, dance academies, you know, and there are so many Indian parents who put their children through the rigor of learning Indian classical dance or Indian classical music, because it's just such a cultural, you know, identifier. It just keeps you close to your culture. So it is absolutely an integral part of the Indian diaspora here in the US, I would say.
Thank you so much. I want to join one of them. I want to join one of those teams. Thank you. Thank you.
We went from small kids, right, from small kids to other learning, to learning how to dance. So what a wonderful thing. I'm learning today. I like this panel a lot. I like this panel a lot. Okay, so look, if there is something that we are, before I want to say this and after I go to the other thing, first is I love the fact that there are so many people representing the arts here. Because I deeply believe, I'm a business professor, so we are about making money in an ethical way, right? But I think the arts keeps that fire inside to think about new ideas. And also it's a way of becoming more human. I don't know if you agree with me, right? Arts. So nice. So yeah, I celebrate that not only the Atlanta Global Study Center is putting together Georgia Tech and Georgia State, is putting together business students with art students, with history students, astronomy students, and professionals of all kind of backgrounds and fields. So nice. This is a small sample of what we want for the entire planet. Is that okay? Yeah, is that okay? A small sample, all together. Okay, now we go to artificial intelligence. It's changing everything. You feel the same? It's changing everything. And you know, some people, they are scared. They say artificial intelligence will replace us. And some people are rational optimists, like me. I believe it's a wonderful thing. In the right hands, right, it's like a knife. If you can use a knife to kill somebody, you can use a knife to feed somebody. Are you with me? So this is like a knife. You can use it to kill somebody. You can use it to feed somebody. But the question here is that it's changing education, right? So I want to go to Mark and Robin, right? Both, Robin and Mark, both. Yeah? And ask what is going to happen with artificial intelligence in your field, teaching languages, right?
All right, well, I'll start, and I'm also an optimist on this. I think that emergent technologies are providing us with opportunities. I want everyone to close your eyes for a second. I'm not going to run away, but just close your eyes for a second. Think about the way that you learned a second language. You probably did a lot of memorization. You probably had to memorize things. You were probably really, really stressed about speaking it, which we call affective filter. You can open your eyes again now. So maybe they gave you a little anxiety to think about, and maybe it was the first time you tried to use that language with a native speaker, and you were nervous or you made a mistake. Emergent technologies are giving us the opportunity to practice. They're not with people, and they're not interactions with people, but they are good practices. You can imagine that today in a language class, a typical high school teacher may have 25 or 30 students in a class learning a language, and they're at very different levels. Perhaps it's Spanish and you have a heritage speaker. They are really good at speaking the language, but maybe they don't know a lot about reading and writing in the language. You might have a student who's just started learning the language, and they're very excited about it and they want to learn. You also might have a student in there that's not so excited about being in the class. Emergent technology helps us identify these students and also customizes learning for it. The field or the development we're starting to call FIL, Facilitated Independent Language Learning. So you can imagine one day that in a classroom, students might be able to interact with technology besides people and customize their learning based on their interest, based on their level, and based on their needs. So again, I'm very optimistic about what facilitated independent language learning will do. It's never going to replace us. It's never going to replace the conversations that we have, but it is going to make that language learning easier, and it's going to impact that way that we feel really nervous about talking. My mother told me to make good mistakes. And when you learn a language, you make so many mistakes, but they're all good because you learned something from it.
This is a great question. I think that AI is making us really rethink what it means to need to learn a language in a way. I think it's really making us, I'm in the field of academic English, and this is such an important tool now for students to be able to use. It's especially important for those productive skills. So when students are able to produce an essay and able to, that's a huge tool that helps students who are first language speakers of English or second language speakers of English to polish their writing. It also, it also, isn't very helpful when it comes to receptive skills. So is a student able to read the content and able to understand it? That is something that's going to continue to be a challenge for learners depending on things like ChatGPT to produce language. So I think that there is, it's a wonderful tool. However, I think across all fields in academia, instructors are dealing with it in different ways, whether it's history, whether it's political science, whether it's math, whatever it is, and English language learning is no exception. Can the students do this? And how important is it that they are able to do it by themselves, not using a tool? I remember when they told us you're not always going to have a calculator. And now we do all the time. So what does it mean as a teacher for me to say, no, that you have to be able to do this by yourself? And I need to rethink what that means as an instructor. What do they actually need to be able to do? What do they need to actually be able to understand? What do they actually need to be able to produce? Am I teaching them how to pass a TOEFL test? Or am I actually teaching them how to take content, understand it, synthesize it, add to it, modify it, and give that back and contribute to this issue? So, yeah, thanks.
Thank you, thank you. So I think you are with me and with most of the people here, that it's a tool that will help us, right? That's what you say, right? A tool that will help you. I want to listen to a student. Who is a student here? A good student, just an A+ student. You are an A+ student. You look like you are a good student. Okay. So, what do you think about artificial intelligence and languages? What is going to happen? What is your vision of the future? Be ready, right? Because now you are like Bill Gates.
So first I'd like to shout out Georgia State University. I'm currently in their online leadership program, and I'm a director of a DLI school that has French, Mandarin, and Spanish instruction. So we don't teach everything that is the Georgia Standards of Excellence is taught in another language. So that's math, science, social studies, reading, and writing. So you can imagine with our middle schoolers how ChatGPT could be a huge thing, or any kind of AI, especially in turning in papers, looking at, how to even translate something. They were very quick to start using it. And we would get these very extreme, very well-developed essays that did not seem like it was our students writing. We know that our 13 and 14-year-olds do not write in this way. So what we had to do as educators is show students what it means to responsibly use this type of technology. And as Dr. Linsky mentioned, we want to be using it to help practice. So students we started training them on how to get effective feedback through this technology. So students, we've actually seen that through this process, they were able to realize mistakes that they might have made. I know that one of our professors here for Japanese was speaking about how that feedback happened with people that they didn't know, but that's a wonderful way that our students can practice. One thing I know Dr. Markley from the Department of Education in Florida, one of the things that she advocated for was world languages. And she said that this new technology is not going to replace that person-person connection. When you're sitting at the dinner table, you don't want to be sitting with the phone and everyone in the family sitting looking at the phone. We want to be able to engage in meaningful conversation. So I think this is an asset, and I think that we can continue to use it to connect with others.
Thank you very much. A lot of optimism is very nice. We need to be, right? We need to think that we are creators, and we created artificial intelligence, right? So we created artificial intelligence. We are humans. We are creators, and we created artificial intelligence. Now we need to create something new, right? That will be even more powerful. So we go to another conversation about India. Are you ready? You are the expert in India, right? So you are the expert. But before going there, I love this. I like to see the leaders from the countries in this conversation with the students and faculty and leaders from the city, and I like to see that so much. But sometimes they are super busy. They say, look, I cannot come. Or sometimes they don't want to come. Are you with me? But I want to go here. And can you introduce yourself? Which country you represent, right? And what do you think about this conversation about the importance of language?
Yes, I'm Jacob Verman. I'm from the Netherlands. Language for the Netherlands is not the biggest problem. We are a very small country, and I speak Dutch, of course, the official language in the Netherlands. But in my home village, we have a special dialect, and it's linked to the Frisian language. So when I was a little child, I spoke more or less already 2 languages. And when we watched TV as a little boy, we watched German soccer. So as a little boy, that was the 3rd language. we learn. So before I went even to school, it was my Dutch, my Frisian, my German, and probably like kind of a combination of the three. And at high school, we studied English and French, and later Spanish. So it's a complete mix of everything. And the benefit of living in a small country, one of the hubs in Europe, is that you grow up with many languages. Is that?
Thank you very much. I would say, just check.
I'm also a teacher, so I can like entertain you forever. So what?
I will say this to you. Let me see if I say donkey. That's correct.
In Dutch or in my dialect?
Thank you very much. You are nice. Thank you for representing your country. Thank you for being with us. Like everybody here, so nice. On Friday, you can do so many things, and you decide to be together with this panel. I go to a question about our attorney here.
Yeah, I'm ready.
I like to have a friend as an attorney. Who is an attorney, so nice. The question is, you are a successful U.S. immigration attorney, right?
Yes, I think so.
That's one thing, because when you introduce yourself, you say, wow, does she sleep? Anyway, and I want to ask you the following. It is, how important was for you to know how to speak Hindi in your professional?
Okay, so I'm a dual licensed U.S. immigration attorney. I'm licensed in India and I'm licensed here in the state of Georgia. My area of practice is immigration, U.S. immigration law and global mobility. So so from that itself, you will know that my area of expertise requires me to deal with cross-border transactions, international companies, people from different parts of the world. So knowing additional languages is a big asset. And for my Indian clients, knowing Hindi is definitely a big asset for me in my practice. Even though I did say that we're all fluent, Indians are fluent in English because we think in English, just the fact that I'm able to break the barrier with my client and just say a few words in Hindi makes such a huge difference. It just, it's just a comfort factor, culturally, to be able to speak in a language that they know. And just as a follow-up to the Consul General's remarks, in India, the minimum number of languages you will know would be 4. When I was growing up, medium of instruction was in English. I had Hindi as my second language. I also, in middle school, had Sanskrit as my third language. And then my parents are from the southwest tip of India, a state called Kerala. So the language of Kerala is Malayalam. So I learnt that with my parents speaking in English, speaking in Malayalam, or in the larger, community. I picked that up. So, we are so fluent in a bunch of languages, and I think the greatest advantage of knowing multiple languages is, of course, in business of, establishing that comfort level. I also know in my practice when when I entered and I was trying to join the profession after I licensed here in Georgia, I was a foreign attorney. What was my, what was my value to a U.S. law firm? The first was the connections that I could bring to the law firm in terms of Indian clients. The second was my language. How many languages did I know, which would enable the law firm to be able to, if they had an Indian client, they would immediately put me on because, again, establishing that rapport with the client and making them feel comfortable. And thirdly, I do USCIS filings. When there are foreign language documents, they have to be translated in English. So I could certify a Hindi document in English, and, that was again a big asset. So, I must say the fact that I know Hindi is a big plus in my practice.
Thank you very much. Thank you. You speak so many languages.
Yes.
You should be from Netherlands. They need to give you the citizenship. Yeah, so nice, so nice, so nice. And I go to our friends here, the educators, right? How important is for our students to be able to talk several languages? It means you are working so hard. I hear to you, working so hard to transform our society in a multilingual society, right? The people in our state in a multilingual state, right? So, what do you think? What do you think it's so important? I would like to listen from both of you, right? What do you think is so important?
I think it's incredibly important to speak another language. I think it's incredibly important to live in another country as well. I think that it does so much for us as humans to get out of our comfort zone and learn from other humans. I think that it increases our mutual understanding of each other, and it is just good for you overall. I 100% recommend learning another language, living abroad. There's so many different ways to do that. I am part of the Department of Applied Linguistics here at Georgia State University. A Master's in Applied Linguistics, or TESOL, can help you go abroad as well and teach English with Fulbright as part of the English Teaching Assistantship Program. And that's whether or not you want to teach English for the rest of your life, or whether you just need an opportunity to get to experience another culture, another language, food, religion, all the things, and grow as a person. Because coming back to the U.S. after that, you offer so much to the people that you're around by being able to share your perspective after growing like that. I lived in Mexico for 4 years teaching English. I was a Fulbright ETA in Hungary for 2 years working with Roma students, and I lived in India in Hyderabad working at an Urdu university there. Those are some of the most important parts of my life, and they have 100% made me who I am today.
Very nice. Mark.
All right, well, I think that you guys know that Georgia's a big state, and you know there's a big population here. An interesting fact for you is that this year, 425,000 public school students are enrolled in a language course.
A big applause. That's a big
do the
number.
math there. So it's important, and it's important because many of our neighbors speak multiple languages. We have multiple cultures, and I think that it provides an opportunity for understanding. So at the basis of language learning is learning about other people, and that's probably the basis of it, but it opens so many doors. I don't remember who said it because, it was someone great and famous, but you speak one language, you have one door. If you speak two languages, you have two doors. If you speak three languages, you have three doors. So it opens doors in ways that you don't expect. And again, I'm optimistically happy about that. And I think that our students that are learning these languages, all 425,000 of them, are gaining something from that. They're learning about a language, but they're also learning about other people.
425,000 students. Do you have somebody else in your team, or it's only you?
We have lots of people at our local level, but I'm the person representing the state.
Thank you. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. You see, when they talk about what they do, the love that they have, right? So the love that they have, everybody that talks here, they have love for this idea of communicating together, becoming one, being able to understand others. We have 5 minutes more, but I just saw somebody enter in the room, and there is a publication here in Atlanta that I have been reading for more than, I think, 15 years. Maybe I'm wrong, but I remember that was the first publication that I asked to a good friend who is already retired, David Bruce, and I said what I should read to understand the dynamics of what happened in international things here in Atlanta. And he gave me the name of a publication here. And every single meeting that I go, the director of that publication is among the audience. So I would like you, if you don't mind, to introduce yourself. I talk about your publication because these are people that they want to connect, they want to become global. So very briefly, right? but just say what you do. You do so good things for all of us.
Well, unexpected. Y'all will hear from me later at lunch, or after lunch, I guess, so I'm not going to take too much of your time. But I'm Trevor Williams. I'm the managing editor of Global Atlanta. So yeah, as Dr. Doria said, we're a news publication focusing on Atlanta's connections with the world. So we write a lot about international business, trade, culture, and particularly education, because we know it's important to companies and it's important to the lives that we want to build here. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much for what you do. Very nice. Yeah, very nice to have our own publication, to have our people from the city, to have the educator, and to have the professor, to have the students, to have everybody here on Friday. And we have 5 minutes more, right? 5 minutes more. And I will open the floor for questions, right? You must be a very good student.
No, I'm okay. Robin, I had a question for you. Is there any, like, I guess, regarding career-wise and business-wise, is there any language you would suggest a college students learn that would be, I guess, more beneficial than one language? Or it doesn't really matter because there's so many and, like, we don't know where we're going to be around the world yet? And then also, I guess, for you, sir, I don't know about college because I didn't take a language course in college, but in high school I took French and I didn't learn a single thing. And I know so many other high school students that took classes and they don't learn anything. I think it's more of just like saying you took the course and just finishing it and getting the good grade versus learning the actual language. So do you think there will be any strategies implemented into changing, I guess, the curriculum of the courses or language courses or how it's taught so students can actually learn the language and be able to use it and remember it?
Okay. All right, well, thank you for the question, and I think it's a really excellent question that you have. Let me give you some statistics. You said you took French, right? French is what we call a level 1 language. We have 4 levels of language, so if you're an English speaker, it's a relatively close language. It uses essentially the same alphabet, and if you take it in high school and you take level 1 and level 2, you take about 270 hours. That's 10 or 11 days of language. You were probably doing really well for 10 or 11 days. It takes 800, 900 hours to become intermediate in that language, which is essentially functional to do jobs that don't require a lot of interaction with other people, but still having a knowledge of the language. Today, we do teach languages very differently. I'm not going to go into the details of it, but we're trying to teach language comprehensible, and that means the textbook that you probably saw and all of those drills that you did and all those conjugations that you did don't do you much good when you go to Paris, because no one's going to quiz you on conjugating the verb être. I promise you, nobody's going to give you that quiz. But they are going to ask how you are, how much something cost, and you need to know something about it. So yes, we have changed the way that we're doing that, and this is a one teacher at a time approach. People see that good teaching, and it changes a lot. As Ms. Daniel was talking a little earlier, and her students in her school are starting language at kindergarten, and they're learning 2 languages at once. By the time they get to middle school and high school, it would be difficult to distinguish them from a native speaker who speaks that language at home. They're not only educated in the language, being able to speak the language, they can read the language and go a lot deeper. So the time that we spend on the language and the time that you start the language is really important. You've probably seen little kids and they pick up another language so quickly, and you probably know as an adult or someone who's even in high school, it's much harder because our brains are different at that time. Have you ever heard a middle school child and you talk to them and you're like, what were you thinking? And maybe their answer is, I don't know. The brain is doing a lot of rewiring then. So if you start learning a language earlier, you're better off, but that doesn't mean that you can't learn a language at another time. It just means that we need to engage in it. And if you were in an environment where you had to use French, a lot of that French that you learned would probably activate, but it's kind of sitting in the back. And it's sitting in the back, and it's going to activate whenever it's necessary, when it's important. Right. Let me pass over to you and let you talk about the languages.
Okay.
And what's important.
I would say learn a language. Whichever one calls to you, I think that that's the most important because if you're motivated, you're going to do it. Secondly, I think a less commonly taught language would be a strategic move because there's a lot of funding for that, so you could go abroad really easily and be kind of paid to learn a language abroad. Arabic, Persian, those would be really awesome, I think, to learn. Mandarin would also be really great to learn, I think. Also Hindi. No pressure. But yeah, whatever you're going to learn, whatever you're connected to, I would say do it. Study abroad. Study abroad if you haven't yet. Go abroad.
Yeah, thank you very much. Very good question. And we are on time. We can one question more, and we need to close and celebrate this Friday. What a wonderful Friday. What a wonderful Friday. Yeah.
I wanted to share, I just recently came back from Thailand a couple of weeks ago. We took a group of students over there for a study abroad opportunity. But I will say, although it was designed for them, it made me want, seeing other universities and institutions, it made me want to pick back up on my language of study, which is French. I did it in high school and college. However, I lost it I stopped doing it for a couple of years. And I just being with those students abroad and also the local students in Thailand, it just made me want to, just say, because they learn multiple language. And a lot of the students, we went to Bangkok University International, and a lot of their students have gone, international to study, and especially in their graduate programs. And so it made me look at that and how we don't explore a second language here. Here we just focus on English and that's it. And I think it's very important that our American students look into a second language, and like she said, do something that speaks to you. So if it's not necessarily French, then there is a language that's out there that may resonate with you. And then doing a study abroad opportunity, that's my field of career choice. So I definitely think it's always important for students, if you have the opportunity, especially in undergraduate school, then to do a study abroad opportunity.
Very nice. Thank you. Do the face of your friends here. Everybody's happy with you. Everybody's happy with you. Okay, it's time. It's 12:30. So I will do the following. Look, these nice people here. These three nice people here invested 1 hour, right, talking about what they do because they love it. So instead of give them a round of applause, I won't say that. I will say let's give an applause to each of them. So and a big applause for our friend Anita. And now, this looks like the boys. Now, a big applause for Robin, our friend Robin here. And now, a big applause for our friend Mark and the 425,000. And now, we want to give a big applause to all of you. Thank you very much. Okay. Finish. You are dismissed. Applause for you.
And to Dr. Doria for being such a fabulous MC.